Simple English News. Breaking news in simple English.
This video brings today's world news in simple English. It is made for English beginners who want real news with simple English. You can learn English and understand the world at the same time. Today, we talk about Ukraine and the search for peace. President Volodymyr Zelensky is visiting the city of Munich in Germany. He is there for a big meeting about world safety. Many leaders from different countries are also at this meeting. They want to talk about the war and the future. President Zelensky has a very important message for the United States. He wants a strong promise from the American government. In politics, people call this a security guarantee. This guarantee is a promise of help if there is trouble. Zelensky says Ukraine needs this promise for a long time. He wants the promise to last for at least 20 years. 20 years is 2 decades of safety for the people. Zelensky says this is the minimum time for Ukraine. He wants this deal before he signs a peace agreement. He says Ukraine must sign a deal with dignity. Dignity means they want to feel respected and strong. There will be important talks next week about this plan. Leaders from Ukraine, Russia, and the United States will meet. Zelensky hopes these meetings will be serious and helpful. But he also says he is a little bit worried. He feels that the different sides talk about different things. They do not always understand each other well. The president of Ukraine talked about the United States. He said the U.S. often asks Ukraine for concessions. A concession is when you give something up to get peace. Zelensky says the U.S. talks about Ukraine giving things up, but they do not talk about Russia giving things up. He thinks this is not fair for his country. Ukraine also wants to join the European Union very soon. The European Union is a group of many friendly countries. Zelensky wants a clear date for Ukraine to join. Some leaders in Europe say this could happen in 2027. This would be a very big change for Ukraine. It would bring more friends and more help. At the meeting, a leader from the U.S. also spoke. His name is Marco Rubio. He is the U.S. Secretary of State. He said that Europe and the U.S. belong together. He wants to work as a partner with Europe. This was a very friendly message for the European leaders. However, Marco Rubio also had some conditions for this help. He said the U.S. might work alone if things change. He talked about rules for the climate and migration. Migration is when many people move from one country to another. He also talked about taxes on goods from other countries. These are important topics for the American government. Marco Rubio did not talk much about the war in Ukraine. He mostly talked about India and Russian oil. He said the U.S. asked India to stop buying oil from Russia. Russia says this is not true, so there is a disagreement. This shows that the situation is very complex. President Zelensky also talked about a place called the Donbass. The Donbass is a region in the east of Ukraine. He said the U.S. gave him some advice about this area. The U.S. said peace would come fast if Ukraine left the Donbass. But Zelensky said this is not possible for him. He said that many Ukrainian people live in the Donbass. He cannot leave his people behind in a war zone. He wants to protect every person in his country. This is why he cannot agree to leave that land. It is a very difficult choice for a leader. The president shared more details about the security deal. He said the U.S. offered a promise for 15 years, but Ukraine wants a promise for 20 years instead. They want the agreement to be a legal law. This law would explain exactly how the U.S. helps. Ukraine also expects a new group of soldiers in the future. This group is called a European Reassurance Force. These soldiers would stay inside Ukraine to keep the peace. The U.S. needs to say how they will help this force. Zelensky wants all these details written down clearly. There is also a plan for the economy in the future. This is called a prosperity plan for the two countries. The U.S. might get minerals from the ground in Ukraine. Ukraine has many natural resources that are very valuable. But Zelensky says they have not finished these talks yet. Zelensky is worried about the Russian leaders in the talks. Russia changed the head of their team for the meetings. Zelensky fears that Russia is just trying to waste time. He thinks they are not changing their plan for the war. This makes the peace talks very hard. The president of Ukraine also feels that Europe is not helping enough. He says Europe is not at the meeting table enough. He thinks this is a very big mistake for everyone. A leader from China also agreed with this idea. They both want Europe to do more for peace. Donald Trump also spoke about the war on Friday. He is a very famous politician in the United States. He told Zelensky to move fast to reach an agreement. He wants the war to end very quickly, but he did not say what will happen if there is no deal. Zelensky also talked about elections in his country. The U.S. wants Ukraine to have an election in May, but Zelensky says this is very difficult right now. He says elections can only happen after a ceasefire. A ceasefire is when the fighting stops for a while. He says the voters must be safe when they go to vote. If there are bombs, people cannot go to the voting stations. He wants at least 2 months of peace before the election. This way, the people of Ukraine can choose their leaders safely. The war is causing a lot of damage to the power. Russia is attacking many energy plants in Ukraine. Energy plants make electricity for lights and heaters. Zelensky says every energy plant in Ukraine is now damaged. This makes the winter very cold and dark for people. Many leaders in Europe are not very happy right now. They think a peace deal is still far away. They believe the Russian leader is not ready to stop. They believe the war might continue for 2 more years. This is a very long time for the soldiers and families. But European leaders say they have enough money to help. They say they can support Ukraine for a long time. Zelensky wants to make the Russian army weaker. He hopes this will help to end the war faster. He is working hard every day for his country. Finally, Zelensky spoke about the country of Iran. He is very angry with the leaders of Iran. He says Iran gives drones to the Russian army. A drone is a small airplane with no pilot. These drones cause a lot of damage in Ukraine. Many people in Munich also protested against the Iranian government. About 200,000 people marched in the streets. Zelensky says these drones are killing innocent people. He says they are destroying buildings and power lines. He wants the world to stop Iran from sending more drones. Zelensky says that bad governments must be stopped fast. If they have more time, they will cause more pain. He thinks the world waited too long to act. Now he wants everyone to work together for peace. He wants a future where children can be safe again. Thanks for watching today's Easy English News. Please subscribe to get the latest updates every day. See you in the next video.